Good afternoon, everybody. It's Lorraine Alternative Homesteading. I hope everybody is doing well. I wanted to give you some feedback. Somebody's been asking me about the video that I posted about the bangs that I caught on my video, but I just wanted to let you know that I have a lot of cameras, both in the cat's building, in my house, pointing outward, pointing in all directions, literally. So at any one time, if there's noise, let's say, in my house, it would be caught on 5 or 6 cameras simultaneously. Of course, the recording quality will differ depending on when the noise is in my very small house of, 700 square feet. Now, the cat's building, which is approximately 600 and something square feet, also has many cameras, all pointing outward. So if one camera hears a noise, all the cameras will hear a noise. If one camera is triggered by a motion, it does not mean that the other cameras are triggered by motion, because the cameras are specifically directed in certain areas on the property that would likely trigger motion. But there are a few cameras on the property that point towards each other, so that if one hears a sound and sees motion, the other one should at least see the same motion, right? But what happened last night was I was in bed at 4 o'clock in the morning. I was actually in bed before that, like around 3 a.m. I took a nice bath, an Epsom salt bath, a detox bath. I'm lying in bed and everything. And my tinnitus is so loud, so it was kind of keeping me awake. And I was thinking about it. And then I decided I'm just going to stay quiet and see how many criminals are going to come onto the property. So I guess they were expecting me to be asleep by 4 a.m. And I hear the pitter-patter of little feet. I hear knocks and bangs. And I'm thinking, no biggie. I was going to get up out of bed. I was going to get a recorder. And I said, why do that? It's quiet as a mouse here. At least 2 or 3 of the cameras should be able to pick up the noise that I was hearing. Right? That would make sense, right? However, for 4 hours, sound from every camera was disabled. So it was one of 2 things. Either they disconnected the Wi-Fi, which they do very often. So they used a Wi-Fi jammer, they disconnected. And of course, I believe one of my neighbors knows how to do this anyway. They work for the electric company. They could have just, got rid of the power. Or they could have hacked into my cameras, which they've likely had been done already, and wiped clean those 4 hours. So the video that you see is just one that I was able to capture. I should have had multitude of videos, visual and audio, all at the same time, and I did not. I only had that one. So this just goes to show that there is interference, third-party interference, because the camera that recorded it was just a few feet from another one that should have recorded it also, and probably should have recorded it louder. But that was what I got. So somebody asked me, and what am I going to say? I live in a small house. Somebody who has a very limited profile asked, well, what building was it? What are you, a perp? You want to know which building the recording was in? So you can go back and tell your buddies, oh, you forgot that camera. Anyway, so that's what happens. That's what went on. And when I first moved here, I was getting audio on every camera all the time, until I filed a sheriff's report, and one of the deputies asked me to airdrop the videos. And from that point forward, they had hacked into my system, because there are characteristics associated with every video and your camera system And of course you send it to the sheriff's department and they've got all those characteristics right there. So, yes, the Sheriff's Department is involved, okay? But what I'm going to read today, because I read a little bit yesterday, is I'm going to read a little bit more of Robert Duncan's How to Tame a Demon, a short practical guide to organized intimidation stalking. And I actually like that terminology, organized intimidation stalking. However, I would like to add that stalking, can be done with between one and many people, but mobbing is the better term. And the reason is because it transforms from stalking into mobbing when there is a person in a position of authority that is aware of it, like the Sheriff's Department, and either condones it or goes along with it. Excuse me. They've been targeting my throat for a week, and my eyes, and my ear. I'd like to see the word mobbing a lot more frequently, because actually what we're experiencing is mobbing. When you have a fusion center operative who's receiving directives from above, from a position of authority that has the power to stop it and chooses to not and goes along and participates, it's considered to be mobbing. Yes. So anyway, this is the next paragraph. Don't they realize that by torturing the world's population that it will reach a breaking point? And remember, this is 2014 this book was written. I'm sure if Duncan wrote the book now in 2024, it would read differently. This is based upon his research and experience at the time, and I know that he had another book coming, which is why they unalived him. So according to the Pentagon documents, 1.6% of any population can be falsely imprisoned, such as with electronic weapons, without successful resolution by the other masses becoming sympathetic to the cause. And of course, they have planned for it. Guns need to be taken from the citizens, and I'm going to say, those camps, like a camp where people go to play. But this is a different kind of camp, like in Nazi Germany, So that these camps are prepared. New weapons that suppress movements, control information flow, and spread propaganda are being developed. Again, 2014. World War takes time to prepare for. Germany was eventually defeated because they took on too many fronts, and the U.S. and allies are a bit more careful this time, but using the same strategies of propaganda and false flag attacks. And we have seen so many of those, right? So many of the last couple of years. They're getting better at manipulating the minds of the simple masses, those that keep their heads in the sand, cross their fingers and hope for the best. It is a very good short-term survival strategy that the wolves will attack those on the fringes first, but of course, those people who do nothing will be forgotten in time due to their cowardice. No one of importance in the history of human race went with the flow and common beliefs of the time. And this is why targeted people who are speaking out, you are important, and you will go down in history. Could our country be controlled through blackmail and mind control technologies? Oops, I just scrolled up too much. 1 second. You're naive if you don't think this is how it works around the world. Read the torture memos and many other independent investigations. The majority of U.S. citizens believe that the U.S. doesn't torture, which shows how out of touch they are with reality, and unfortunately they don't even know the newer plausible deniable methods of the torture, like microwave stimulation of the nervous system that leaves no physical evidence of prolonged maximum pain from no-touch torture technologies. And I'm reading a book. This is for educational purposes only. I'm reading a book written by a doctor. We always knew that the government collected all data on Americans like they do in, that big country where it's very cold, and then the other country, you know, the other country with the other country, you know, that likes to do things to animals. The color of the flag may change, but the systems of control remain the same. America is just more of a war machine and better at it. So, do they make mistakes of classifying good humans with terrorists? Do we hear about the mistakes they make? Of course not. There were no true checks and balances. We have no citizen secrets with the NSA, PRISM, and profile algorithms, but they can be trusted in the torture, blackmail, and killing machines. What's wrong here? Democracy is an illusion for the masses. Politicians are groomed and placed into their positions. Psychotronics is just another tool to use on politicians and the public to shape their views. Question: are my neighbors using microwave weapons on me? Well, for anybody who didn't see my Halloween post, my neighbors thought they were being really cute by erecting a DirecTV satellite opposite my, pointing towards my property with the words DEW and Hillbilly Mafia written on it in black marker. You can go check it out. Maybe I'll just tag it in this video. Are the neighbors using microwave weapons on me? Well, now remember, this is 2014. This cannot be disproven yet. What we do know is that the agencies will put in neighbors into the community to spook the target. They may be testing localized weapons, but the real weapons are global, and you cannot escape from them. So now, when I lived at 52 Sutton Drive, Manalapan, New Jersey, a home I lived in for 30 years as original owner, diagonally across the street, they implanted a detective. So evidently this detective, I'm certain, because she was a police detective, had firearms, at least, at the very minimum, right? Currently, the theory is to make the target know that they are a focus of the government and to increase the fear factor. They purposely allow the target to see instruments and equipment that they're bringing into their abodes to create the delusion that it's localized and not global. If one creates a correlation of pain when their neighbors arrive, the person will of course believe that the neighbor is doing it to them. They will call the police and the neighbor will say the target's crazy, thereby creating a track record for the target, furthering their journey down the rabbit hole. Well, I've never reported my neighbors for technology. I have reported them for trespassing, vandalism, theft, shooting a firearm, stealing, you know. And because the sheriff does nothing, the county lawyer does nothing, Neighborhood Wars came to the rescue. April 11, 2023. You can see my sorry-ass neighbors on Neighborhood Wars. So, revenge is sweet sometimes. This is not to say that the localized microwave weapons are not real. And I know for a fact, I'm just going to say for a fact, I know a targeted woman who's targeted accidentally, and she caught on camera a man with a backpack with that weapon being pointed towards her. And she was able to prove it, and she went through bells and whistles and stuff, but she absolutely attests to the fact that there are handheld devices in the public domain. The localized microwave weapons are such as ADS, active denial systems, but this just makes the game more complex, from the simple to the complex and worldwide. The question is, how is mind control possible? There's been much secret development for the newest weapon of mass destruction and control of the minds of the population's neuro weapons. Notice how all the research went black, where there should be huge amounts of experimentation and data. There is no simple answer without much mathematics and physics terms. In short, there are many biochemical processes that rely on hydrogen, calcium, chloride, potassium, and sodium ions, which affect metabolism, cellular communication, specifically neuron communication, and every human body can be viewed as a spectrum of relaxation times under different magnetic field strength and radio frequencies as a signature. The brain has been deciphered on the most part, and how to rewire it to receive audible communication and induce pain and sporadic dysfunction in the systems. Don't focus on a single frequency, because the frequencies depend on the electromagnetic environment and signal to noise estimations and autocorrelation functions. It is the most top secret and devastating weapon to the information of minds and biology ever conceived by the war machine. So, I hope you enjoyed this little brief. Robert Duncan, How to Tame a Demon, a short practical guide to organized intimidation, stalking, electronic harassment. This is Lorraine, Alternative Homesteading. Please remember to hit the thumbs up. Helps the channel grow, get the message out there, combats the cyber stalkers. And some of you, you're very astute, have also mentioned that you'll actually see in real time the thumbs up going down. So somebody's altering the thumbs up on all of my videos. It's probably happening to other targeted people as well. It's not fair. They don't want us to be popular. They don't want us to monetize. They don't want us to share the information. But, you know, as I've said it before, too bad. If you choose to harass me, if you choose to torture me, if you choose to break into my house, harm my animals, target my left eye so that it barely opens in the corner now, like it's glued shut with a scar tissue, microwave my throat, vibrate my legs, destroy my property, I will never shut up. What's happening to me? I know it's happening to other people. Everybody's targeted differently, depending on where you live, who's involved, how old you are, what your assets are, if you live in a home or if you rent a home or if you rent an apartment. Your targeting is totally different. If you live with someone, your targeting will be a lot less than when you live alone. Like here. So that's just the way it is. And also, if you're new to the program and new to my channel, welcome. Welcome, everybody. My name is Lorraine. Lorraine Valente. I moved from Manalapan, New Jersey, 52 Sutton Drive, a gorgeous 5-bedroom house in a beautiful suburban community. And when I moved there was no grass, there were no trees. It was a new builder. Nobody had fences, gates, anything. And everything I did over the 30 years created a beautiful, beautiful home. I even had landscapers approach me and tell me that they loved my landscaping because it was so different than other people's. It was more, you know, like an English garden type with flowers and bulbs and vines that other people in the neighborhood did not have because they were too much work. I even had a vegetable fruit garden that the criminals destroyed. And I had a 501c3 nonprofit cat rescue. I still do. But yeah, so back then, I became targeted. And for any of you people that don't believe that the police are involved, think again. If you call them and they do nothing, they call you, they ignore you, you call them and the incident report, it never gets filed, never gets reported, is blank when you receive it through FOIA requests, they're absolutely involved. On every level. They're in violation of their oaths. And that's why, and I mentioned this on one of my last videos, and only one person responded to it. I posted a comment on somebody else's video, like a homesteader, you know, who reports the news and stuff. And somebody commented about how bad the police are these days. And I responded, like, if you think the police are bad, the military's worse. Well, I received a very long response from a former military guy. I was shocked. Like, it happened pretty quickly, too. And he said this is why he left in 2017. He said, I saw what was coming, and I didn't want to participate. And he said a lot of my fellows also left. The good guys left. And what you see now is going to be what you get. Because the good guys don't want to participate in this stalking. They don't want to participate. They don't want to get involved with it. They don't want to hurt people. They don't want to shoot people's dogs because they're scared. They're little weenie boys. All these young coppers, you know, that are on steroids and alcohol and drugs. They're abusers. They're low IQ, self-entitlement and stuff. Hey, don't take my word for it. All you have to do is look at some of the police auditor videos. You've got the civil rights lawyer, audit the audit, lackluster. Brian, who is he's got a new channel now. I forget what it's called. Then there is a Richard Moore. Mostly he goes mostly into the Mississippi and stuff. Then there is a New Jersey Exposed, and it's not just New Jersey anymore that he's exposing. You know, so how is it that there are literally hundreds of thousands of them across the country? Some of them are being imprisoned. They're being fined. They're being fired. You know, but what happens is when they get fired, they go somewhere else. We need to end the qualified immunity. But anyway, getting back to what this military guy said, he said, that's why I left in 2017. I saw what was coming. I didn't want to participate. He said, and many other people felt the same and left. All the good guys, he said, all the good guys left. And this is what you got. Now you've got these tyrant bullies that are willing to take out your dog, straddle women that weigh 110 pounds, taser them while they're handcuffed. Oh, I mean, the list is endless. The list is endless. Yeah, I watched one on the civil rights lawyer yesterday. I was so disgusted. Anyway, I'm going to get off my rant now. Please remember to hit the thumbs up. Robert Duncan, How to Tame a Demon. And thank you, Robert Duncan. I know that he was involved in developing the very weapon systems that are harming us. At the time, he thought that they were going to be utilized in the military. Makes sense, right? He did not realize that they were going to be turned on the American people. And at that point, he became a whistleblower, came forward, wrote several books, and now he's gone. And for all those trolls on my channel that slander him, he's deceased. He can't speak for himself. His writings, his books, tell you everything you need to know about the man. His interviews are still online. So please respect the people who have passed on. Those comments will be deleted. So I'm going to sign off for now. And I hope you all having a good day.